Hello and welcome to this special edition of the Political Rumble. Narendra Modi this week has got a third term as India's Prime Minister. This time, however, the pitch conditions have changed. The BJP has fallen short of majority, making it dependent on allies. How does this mandate affect Modi 3.0? That's going to be our focus on the Political Rumble. We'll have guests who've worked with Prime Minister Modi or know him well. Ashok Malik joins us. He was with the government for a long time. Ashok Malik is a partner at the Asia Group. Also joining us is Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay. He's been a biographer of Prime Minister Modi, wrote a book about him even before he became the Prime Minister of the country in that period. Also joining us is Pavan Verma. Pavan Verma is author, diplomat, and was formerly an MP of the JDU, which remember is a key constituent now in this government. And joining us, Sumant C. Raman. He has his unique perspective there from Chennai. He will tell us how he sees Mr. Modi functioning in this 3.0 government. As always, on the Rumble, we will raise all the big questions first. And our first big question on the Rumble is simply this. Can Prime Minister Modi be a coalition builder now? Or has brand Modi taken a big hit? Will Indian politics be more consensus-driven now? Will government-opposition ties get more and more turbulent as time goes on? These are some of the questions that we will raise. We'll also be speaking to special guests, including Nara Lokesh, Pawan Kalyan and others, all of whom now are allies in this government. But first, to you, Ashok Malik, because you have seen Mr. Modi at close quarters in recent years. Can he make the transition from being the leader of a dominant majority party government to now being a coalition government where he will have to work with others? Now when there is a food packet, it may not only include Prime Minister's face, it may also have to have Nitish and, dare I say, Chandrababu Naidu.
Rajiv, thank you for having me. Mr. Modi, like Mr. Naidu and Mr. Nitish Kumar and several other politicians in our polity, is a very senior and experienced person. If he has worked with two single-party majority governments and not with the coalition, it is because he won a mandate for a single-party majority government in 2014 and 2019. Mm-hmm. However, in his party, in international diplomacy, he has worked with diverse coalitions and diverse people. I have no reason to believe he cannot do that in a national government as well, in the government of India. Mm-hmm. There's also the reality that no government in this Lok Sabha is possible without a coalition, and without a coalition built around the BJP, which has 240 seats, a very large number, near a majority, but not quite a majority. Mr. Modi indicated and signaled as much today when in every single reference to the coalition and the government, he called it the NDA coalition, he called it the NDA government. He was emphasizing that he understood the importance of the coalition. He understood this was not a BJP government, this was an NDA government. The imperatives were different, the dynamics were different, and he was alive to that. And obviously the content and substance will also need to be tweaked in that manner.
So you're saying that Mr. Modi will be flexible enough to adjust to the new changed circumstances. Pavan Verma, what's your view? Because there is a picture of your old boss, if I may be allowed to call him that, Nitish Kumar. He almost touched Mr. Modi's feet. That in itself led to considerable speculation. Nitish Babu seems to know which way the wind is blowing. But do you really believe that outside this bonhomie, this is a lasting arrangement, or everyone is simply sussing each other out in these early days?
Thank you, Rajdeep. I think it's early to say, but politics is the art of compulsion. And the versatility of Prime Minister Narendra Modi should never be underestimated. But I can say this fairly definitively, that by experience and by temperament, he has no training to be a coalition leader. The facts are well before you. From 2001 to 2014, he was unchallenged chief minister. In 2014 and 2019, the the BJP on its own had an absolute majority. So the allies were optional accessories. And if you talk to some of them in his heyday when he didn't need them, but it was part of the NDA, many will tell you that NDA meetings were far between and infrequent, often perfunctorily held, and essentially it was the writ of the Prime Minister who had an absolute majority that ran. But it was not only with the allies, in the government also, which will now have ministers from other parties presumably. In the government, he ran the government as a one-man show. Cabinet meetings, anecdotal references tell us, were like a frozen piece where agendas were circulated but decisions as the Prime Minister wanted were known and endorsed without much discussion and debate, and certainly without a difference because that was not very well tolerated. Then in the party, Mr. Modi's writ was supreme. I mean, he took decisions. I'm now talking of a coalition government where the BJP within itself had one leader, acknowledged him as one leader, went into the election almost as the BJP invisibilized, and the manifesto was called Modi Ki Guarantee. And he could change chief ministers at will, dismiss entire cabinets, sometimes treat stalwarts with limited accommodation. Lastly, in Parliament, he had a brute majority in the Lok Sabha and a managed majority in the Raj Sabha, so you could push through legislation with a minuscule opposition that could create a ruckus but do little else. And therefore, many bills were passed without adequate discussion. One example is the land reform bill, passed within an hour with a voice vote, and very few bills were being referred to select committees for deeper examination because the BJP could get its legislation passed. Now, all of this will have to change. And
I'll come to the. I've allowed you the
as I
luxury.
said, you cannot underestimate.
I've allowed you the luxury of time to explain what you believe what has changed between then and now.